Okay, totally fine. This is your bass drum. Most bass drums have this mount. This mounts a tom in it. Okay, there's usually an arm here and an arm here. The tom goes on that. We'll save that for later, okay? Usually you want to put your bass drum on a rug or carry around a rug with you, that when you go gigging out with your jazz band or something, because once you start playing, this will start sliding forward, and next thing you know, your kid's going to be playing drum set like this, and it's really uncomfortable, okay? So make sure that they have a rug or something. The way that we stabilize the bass drum is by these two pegs here. One goes out that way, one goes out that way, and it's going to prevent it from rolling back and forth. Pretty self-explanatory, all right? What do we do next? Who knows?
Connect the pedal.
Connect the pedal. This is your standard average bass drum pedal. There's a chain here, there's a spring here. If it's not functioning, it's probably because the spring came off, so don't feel the need to go drop $200 on a new pedal just because it's not functioning. Okay? It's got this little wing nut and this little clamp right here. Come around so you can see it. You see how there's some black tape or like residue right here? It's because there used to be electrical tape or some kind of tape there. All right, and that's due to this thing is usually grooved on bottom. Okay, so then it can clamp on and it doesn't move. So that's why they put it there, because it'll kind of eat up the rim a little bit, but no big deal. And it's already loosened over here. So that clamps on that. We screw that wing nut down. It secures this. Now we have a functioning kick drum pedal. Okay? That's usually your step one when teaching kids to set up a drum set, because wherever they set up the kick drum, that's where they're going to set their body up, and that's the way they're going to be facing. So if you want them facing the conductor, then this has to be facing the conductor for jazz band setup. Does that make sense? What do we do next? Snare drum. Does anybody know why we do the snare drum next? It is closest to the player, mainly because I like to think of it as, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later. This is establishing what I like to call your triangular setup, and the triangle is going to be your right foot up to your hand here to your left foot. Triangle point 1, 2, 3. Okay? Just kind of remember that term because I use it and kids remember it, and it also helps focus their setup. So if you're like, hey, I need your triangle setup to be more straight to the snare drum, or sorry, straight to the drum set, it means we want it set up more this way. Does that make sense? If we set up too far like this, then it's like the kid's facing this way and you still have drum set up over here that we're not going to be able to access. Does that make sense? Snare drum. What do we do next? Snare drum setup. You guys remember how to set up a snare stand, right? Wing nut, height adjustment. Okay. FYI, you know in snare drumming we set the strainer up at your belt buckle. Not necessarily a case in drum set. I don't know if there's a rule. I like to position it by my leg. It's because so then if I have a strainer, you guys remember the strainer that comes off this way? Like this goes parallel to the drum. The ones that go perpendicular to the drum. I like to put it there because I can hit with my knee and turn the snare drum on really quick if I need be. So there's not necessarily a rule. Like right now the strainer's going this way. No big deal like on concert snare drum. Okay? Next, what do we do? Hi-hat. How do we put the hi-hat together?
Put the thing on the thing.
Put the thing on the thing? Show me. Put it together. What do I need? Is it working? This is probably going to be the most complicated piece of hardware. It's not too bad though, because they all work exactly the same way. What do we do? Put together. I'm not doing it. I don't know how to do it. I'll get you started. Yep. So kind of like the kick pedal, there's a chain here, and you need to secure the bottom of the pedal just like that. So then when you put it down, yeah. Then what goes next? Inside this tube, connected to the chain, there's a metal pipe that's threaded. You screw this piece into it, and that's what you're going to connect your hi-hat to that enables to move it up and down. Make sense? And what do I do next? Yeah. Is it working? Okay, everyone check this out. Usually these are wing nuts. Like on all this hardware, there's all wing nuts all over. This is an exception to that rule. This is just one of these clamps. I've seen these a couple times, but 90% of stuff is wing nuts, so that's what this is.
Is it always a clamp on the hi-hat?
This piece, no. Usually this
Okay.
is a wing nut.
Okay.
Like I didn't know this was a clamp until right now. Okay, so that's that. What do I do next? I got cymbals and I got this weird thing.
Let's try the weird thing.
Nope.
No, let's try this.
You gotta put the bottom on.
Which one?
Top one you got there.
Which one?
Wait,
Do they matter? I don't think
Yep. If you look, it says
tell.
top,
This says bottom.
and that says bottom.
Hello.
Okay. Does anybody know why that one goes on bottom?
Is it heavier?
Says.
Think back to crash cymbals.
It's heavier.
It's heavier and it's thicker and it has a lower pitch. Right? So then what do I do with this now?
You gotta do top.
I think you have to. Okay. Yeah, let's put this one first.
Put that on?
But you gotta have some way to keep them
Yeah.
separated.
Yep.
So we need another little.
Top piece comes
apart.
This guy, here, check this out. This is, if you lose these, you can buy, this is called the hi-hat clutch, okay? You can buy these usually don't cost too much, they're like maybe like 10, 15 bucks. Because kids always lose them when you're moving drum sets. But that piece screws off, it's just a whatever threaded piece of metal that holds that on. It's really important, guys, that you put the felts, these little black pieces, these are felts. You put that, the felt needs to be on the cymbal. Okay? If it's not, if you have just metal, if you're missing a felt, go buy felts. Because if you have metal on the cymbal, after time of the constant vibrations, what that's going to do is going to put a bunch of little tiny cracks around the hole in the top of your cymbal in the bell. Okay? And that's how cymbals get destroyed. So, the same thing with this piece. That black piece right there, this is a felt, just so it's not sitting directly on metal. So we unscrew this, put it between this felts, screw it back together, so now we have this mechanism. Okay? And then again, here's a little wing nut on here. Slide it on. You're going to step on it a little bit to lower the hi-hat rod, and you're going to tighten it, so then when you lift up, it's connected to the rod. Does that make sense? Middle school kids have no idea how this thing works. My first day student teaching middle school, I put together 4 different hi-hats. And the thing was, it was all the same hi-hat. 4 different times. Okay, just because they don't understand how, oh, this doesn't work, or they always forget. Okay, so you guys, this is going to be one that you're probably going to be doing at least weekly, especially if jazz band gigs. Okay? Cool, what do I do next? Right there. Toms?
Yes.
Okay, how? Show me how. Here you go.
Video.
Okay. Yep. So wing nut, loosen it, put it on, tighten it. How do we position it? Does anybody know?
You want it to where you can hit it.
Yeah, you want it, this is a little high, is it that tight? Okay. This is a little high. What you're gonna do, you're gonna want it, I don't want it to go too fast. You want it low enough so that the drum is gonna be kind of close to parallel, all right? Usually you see like beginning players with their snare drum tilted at an angle like this and their toms tilted like that. You don't want that because when you're playing, everything's a glancing blow. Does that make sense? Like when we play snare drum, we teach you to go straight up from the wrist, so it's going straight perpendicular into the head. All right? We want the toms to kind of, even though they're going to be further away from where they are, to be the same type of level. Does that make sense? So that's that. So we got our snare drum, we got our tom-tom, we got our hi-hat, we got our bass drum, also known as the kick drum. So if you ever see a percussion part that says kick drum, it's specifically meant for your foot with the pedal. Okay? Because sometimes it's written as bass drum part and then there's a kick drum part. What do we do next? Floor tom.